Welcome to LaughNapkin. On today's episode of r/EntitledParents, we have an entitled mom that wants to steal your dad and kiss your mom. Then we have an entitled mom that wants you to have your dog put down because your dog defended your home against her trespassing kid. Do me a favor and hit that like button and let's get into it.
Karen, entitled mom, wants to steal my dad from my mom. I've been watching a lot of Reddit videos, read through this sub, and decided to post my own experience with an entitled mom. I'm 19 now, and this happened between the ages of 8 and 12. Most of it I saw myself, but some things I had to hear from my parents. I was in school with this entitled kid. Let's call her Bella. Bella was the youngest kid in class, but she thought she was the oldest, at least mentally. I have Asperger's, but that didn't stop me from acting mostly normal. I had weirder interests, but drawing and reading Percy Jackson books doesn't seem to be that out of place for an 8-year-old. Bella didn't like this. She wanted everyone to be like her, at least the girls. It had to be horses as your favorite animal, your favorite sport had to be horseback riding, and you needed to like the books and other things she liked. Now, I did not like her already. She called my friend's brother retarded for being severely autistic. So you can imagine what I felt back then. She used to bully me daily. She'd tell me that I was weird and stuff. Some of the things she said still hurt me to this day. She used to call me fat, to the point where I actually stopped eating until my mom sat me down and I opened up. Bella was fat. I mean, really fat. Bella was around 4'5" and weighed around 176 pounds. One day, she was bullying me and I stood up for myself, calling her a pig or a whale. She cried about it and my mom and her mom had to speak to my teacher. Bella's mom, we'll call her Karen, denied because her precious angel would never bully anyone, especially not a simple person. This did not sit well with my mom, and I don't know what happened, but somehow Karen and Bella ended up being friends of ours. Bella stopped bullying me for some time, and her mom started to eat at her house. Note that I said ours since she never invited us over. Karen's husband had cheated on her and left, so one day she came over crying her eyes out. Not long after, my granddad passed away and my dad fell into a depression and didn't go to work for some time. This is where Karen saw her chance. My dad started to bring me to school every day. According to other parents, Karen would take out her ponytail and style her hair with her fingers to make herself seem more attractive to my dad every time she saw our car or us on bikes coming up. She would touch him on his shoulder, change her way of speaking, and just a stereotypical thing you see girls in TV shows or movies behave when they have a crush on a guy. My mom's friend told my mom this, but my mom didn't want to hear both sides, so she asked Karen. She denied all of it, calling her friend a liar and saying that she was jealous and wanted my dad. This was nonsense since her friend is already married with pretty much a copy of my dad. My mom broke the friendship she had with her friend. I know this wasn't Karen's goal, but she felt entitled enough to do that. Bella started feeding me lies about my mom's friend's kids, who happened to be one of my best friends. Being autistic, I didn't listen and told my mom what Bella was saying. This opened her eyes a bit and she started to notice things. Karen would come over every time my mom had to go to work. She knew my mom's schedule. She would then talk to my dad or cry about her ex. During dinners, she would tell us how much we meant to her and her entitled kid. Karen would sometimes talk to me, telling me things that I would now call her out for if it happened now. She began to tell me how handsome and nice and caring and how perfect my dad was. She asked if I liked Bella, and that it might have been fun if she and I became sisters. I was a stupid 10-year-old then, so I was oblivious to this. But so was my dad. A year later, my parents and Karen were celebrating Carnival, basically 3 days of drinking a crap ton of booze. And somehow she thought my mom was too drunk to remember what she was going to say. Now, it has been 9 years, so I might remember this wrong, but it went something like this. Karen, my ex leaving was good. I have seen now how much better, my dad's name, is, and I want him. He is probably already thinking of leaving you. My daughter deserves a better father. And my name is much too much of a brat for him anyway. She also told my mom that she loved her and kissed her. My mom pushed her off of her and yelled, "What the hell do you think you're doing?" After that, my mom tried to avoid Karen, but she insisted on helping us when we were moving houses. We didn't allow her, so she spread some rumors around which every other parent ignored and simply told her to shove it. Bella started to bully me again, this time telling me how ugly I was and that no one would ever love me. My parents are still happily married to this day, have taken up the friendship with my mom's friend again. I have a boyfriend who I have been with for a bit more than 2 years, and Karen and Bella were sued by Karen's ex-husband because they were still living in his house without payment for 6 months longer than contracted. I have seen Bella again recently. She now has no neck, looks like she is pregnant with a football team as big as her stomach is, and she started smoking and caking her face with makeup. Also, she tried to apply for a job at the place my mom works. She didn't even get an interview. My dog needed to be put down so her kid could trespass freely. This is something that happened quite a few years back, but I remember it well since it became one of those family stories you always tell for a laugh. I was 20 and living with my mom in Dominican Republic while I finished college. At the time, I had a little long-haired Chihuahua named Punky. He was the sweetest dog in the world, and the neighborhood kids generally loved him because he was always up for play. At the time, we were living in a nice neighborhood and the house had a large backyard. Instead of a fence, the backyard had a 7-foot wall surrounding it, and there was a large cashew tree close to the wall. This is important to the story. Now, if some of you have never seen this fruit, please Google Malay apples or cashew fruit. This is the edible kind. When the trees bear fruit, they don't hold back. They grow heavy with the fruit, and mom would usually give the fruit away to the neighborhood kids. The characters in this story are entitled mom, my mom, entitled kid, judge. Like I said, my mom generally gave the fruit away to kids or let them come in and pick it themselves. But as always, there was one little brat. Enter the kid from across the street, entitled kid. He got it into his head that he didn't want to knock on the door and ask for the fruit. He would instead climb the 7-foot wall and take the fruit from the tree. This would make Punky go crazy, thinking there was an intruder in his yard, and mom would run outside to get the kid down. Now, my mom knew the family was a bunch of idiots and didn't want trouble. 4 times she spoke to the boy, telling him, "Please, just come to the door, you're scaring the dog. I will give you all the fruit you want if you ask." When talking to him didn't work, mom went to his house. "Mom, your son keeps trespassing into my yard and climbing a tall wall without supervision. He's making the dog very upset. He can have the fruit, but he needs to ask." Entitled mom, "I can't control everything he does all day. He can go wherever he wants. Chain the dog if he's being difficult." Mom, "Well, no, that's called trespassing. I won't chain my dog in my own yard so your kid can break the law. If he has a bad fall or if the dog bites him, I'm not responsible." Entitled mom slams the door on mom's face. 2 days later, it happened. My mom was in her room. She hears a crash, barking, and crying. Entitled kid had slipped off the wall, landed on the dog's house and completely destroyed it, and the nervous little Chihuahua bit him. Mom makes sure the bite hasn't drawn blood and that entitled kid hasn't hit his head and sends him home, thinking he's learned his lesson. A week later, I get the mail. Entitled mom was suing us for medical expenses and wanted my dog put down. I lost my shit. I wanted to go there and beat entitled mom for wanting to hurt my dog. But my usually fiery mom made me calm down. We'd go to court. On the court day, I was very worried. I wasn't sure what Dominican law was on the matter, but I knew in some countries any dog that bites is automatically put down. Enter entitled mom and the judge. She was suing us for the equivalent of $4,000 US. In Dominican Republic, that's a ridiculous amount of money for entitled kids' medical expenses due to the bite, and she was demanding the dog be destroyed. Judge asked my mom to tell her version of the events and asked entitled mom if this was all true. Entitled mom, yes, what she says is true. Judge, so you're telling me that your kid trespassed a home illegally to steal something he could get for free in the first place, destroyed property while stealing, and got bitten by a scared chihuahua as a result? Entitled mom, well, yes, but my boy should be able to go where he likes. It's his right. The dog needs to be put down so he can move freely. Judge, no, your kid is not entitled to go where he wants on other people's property. Sorry for the wake-up call. Do you let strangers wander into your home whenever they like? Do you have photos of the child's wound? Entitled mom, no, he didn't break any skin. Judge, then how do you explain your supposed medical bills for the bite? To my mom, can I see the dog? Mom shows the judge a photo of the dog. The judge rolls her eyes. Judge to entitled mom, do you understand that if your child would have trespassed into a home with a large dog breed, he would be dead? Judge to my mom, ma'am, you're free to go. If you decide to countersue for destruction of property and trespassing, feel free to. You have a good case. Mom, thank you, but I just want to go home. And assurance that they won't bother us again. Entitled kid didn't trespass again. Entitled mom did end up having to pay my mom's legal fees though. Well, that about wraps it up. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed already, hit that subscribe button and bell. By the way, I just started a Discord server for anyone looking to be part of the LaughNapkin community. Link in the description below. See you next time.